Okay, so my name is Donald Waugh, and we're here doing the EPK sessions. Again, this is the interview section. My name is Donald Waugh, and I started playing music at about 6 years old. I grew up in a very musical house. My dad played pretty much all the band instruments in church, so piano, bass, guitar. He didn't play drums, but he played everything else. My mom sang in the choir, and so I saw them playing and singing, and I got interested in playing music while at church. And that's how my beginnings in music. How I started playing the bass was my brother-in-law. I saw one bass guitar amongst maybe about 15 instruments in his collection. He's a professional guitar player, played for Bette Midler and all the greats around the world. And he had just a lone bass 4-string Fender. And I decided I wanted to try the instrument. And he said to me that it's tuned EADG and the frets are in semitone. I already could play the piano before. I was about 17 at the time. And he said, sure, that's it. EADG in terms of strings and semitones. So, of course, he went to bed. I just stayed up the whole night. I was staying over their house. And they woke up with me still tinkering with the instrument. And when they woke up, I was playing boom, 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 boom. I was listening to radio and kind of trying to figure out the notes for La Bamba. And my sister was like freaking out and saying, Donald learned the bass overnight. It was kind of funny. I just kind of figured out that bass line. I think that's what kind of gave me that energy to want to play music and professionally like my brother-in-law was doing. So that kind of sparked that kind of drive to want to play music. In terms of touring, my brother-in-law actually gave me my first professional tour. I think I shouldn't have gotten a tour that big because I wasn't ready for it, I think. I remember when I got that call, my brother-in-law said, yeah, I can't do this gig. Would you want to do it? So I said, yeah. I didn't know what gig it was, but hey, if he's telling me about a gig, I'm sure it's going to be good. So I took the gig. They called me, and they said, yeah, you're going to be playing banjo. I'm like, oh, my God, banjo. I've never played a banjo in my life. But I still said yes anyway. And I went to the studio, and I saw the banjo laying there. I took it up, Googled how to tune the banjo, and I had about 4 hours to figure it out. So I tinker around, trying to figure out the chords, write them down as fast as I could, and just figure out the most I could. I think I had 4 songs to kind of figure out on the banjo. And I went in the rehearsal, and I did what I could, honestly. And I came out feeling a bit defeated because I went into a rehearsal that I had no clue how to play an instrument. But I tried anyway. And the music director came out right after and said, unofficially, Donald, you got the job. And I was shocked because I'm saying, how is that even possible? And he said the fact that I was able to do so much in a few hours, he got very curious to see what I could do in a year. So yeah, I spent about a year with that band, toured almost everywhere in the world, did Dubai, did North America, did the Caribbean, Europe, all over. That was the first time I ever got introduced to private jets and, sipping champagne on, you know what I mean? Yeah, a way much bigger gig than I deserved at the time, because this is my first one. I should probably have started, on a tour bus, shearing, driving and thing. But I got lucky, and I got a really good gig for my first tour. Of course, after that, it was pretty much downhill from there. There's no way I would get a gig that large again, but it was good while it lasted. But my career was quite colorful. I got to I think I've traveled everywhere except China and Africa. I've been all over the world, and I've written 3 albums, and it's been a great ride here now in Canada, and about to do something new. You know, embarking on a new career choice of post production. So I'm really excited about that, and yeah, so hopefully be able to work in film, television, work in video games, and share my music and my abilities that way.
Do you have any advice like for musicians who are starting
My advice to musicians who are starting is to get rid of one word out of the vocabulary. No. Always say yes to opportunities. That's how I have really grown as a musician, and how I've gotten a lot of networking and contacts by just simply saying yes to opportunity. Even if you feel that you were not ready for it. As you can see, I wasn't ready for that gig, at least I thought I wasn't. And I said yes anyway, and it worked out. Honestly, do it. You try and do as many things in your industry, even if you feel that you might not even be ready for it. Do it anyway. You know what I mean? If you fail, that's okay. You learn from it. You get up, you dust off, and you try again. Like the song I wrote, you try, you fail. You never truly fail unless you stop trying.
Do you have more history about the music, the songs that you?
Yep. I started writing songs when I've been writing songs for many years now, but never really, with the intention, okay, I'm gonna do an album. So I've been writing from out maybe in high school, just little songs here and there. But my real songwriting started, I think, in 2003. I think that's when I broke up with my ex-wife at the time. Well, no ex-wife, and I was feeling pretty bummed. You know what I mean? And my best friend called me, and I was actually on tour. And he called me and said, "Donald, why you're gonna be depressed? You should divert all that energy, all that anger, all that sadness, everything, depression, whatever it is, and write songs and put out an album." And I did exactly that. For 1 year, I just went on a writing spree, And in that time of just self, exploration and understanding certain things and just digging deep, I was able to write some really decent songs, And after which it took me a while to really compile that album, but after I did it and I put it out and seen how people react to the songs, it was truly amazing, especially songs like Try, or I did a song called Crazy For You, which I wrote that song for my now wife. I wrote that for her birthday, and so all the songs are very personal, in a way where I see a situation, or it's about people, or it's about just my journey. So if you want to check out the songs, you can check them out on my website, donaldwaugh.com/music, and give them a listen.
Oh, okay. About your influences.
I've, my musical influences have been quite vast, I think, because when I was a kid, my first musical influence was my parents, and in church it was a bass player called Tony Hutton. Man, that guy to me was like the best bass player I've ever seen. You know what I mean? He he really blew my mind as a bass player coming up as a kid, seeing him play. And he also played a bit of keys too. And yeah, being at church, I was wowed by these musicians. And then eventually, when I went to college, and then I was exposed to jazz and musicians like Jaco Pastorius, bass players like that, or piano players like Chick Corea. Of course, long-standing influence Bob Marley for songwriting, and Sting again for songwriting. I find these musicians just blew my mind, but I'm always absorbing different styles of music and different genre, just to really understand where I can push myself as a songwriter and a composer to see what I can come up with new, fresh, and honest more than anything else. Because I find honesty, being true to yourself, and so you can really produce something special, you know? So my influences have been quite vast, and been a great ride so far. All right. Oh, thank you.
Now we can just take some photos for the poster and
Awesome.